can you recall a time in your life when you decided, or you came to the realization that it was time for you to switch up and be the person who you had on the inside of you the whole time anyway?
Yeah, every time I went to jail.
Every time.
The time I went through, the feds gave me 17 with 10 joints suspended for a total of 27 years. Then I really, yeah, so I made up my mind to change. Every 3 months, I just never put the work in.
Right. To have once been a criminal is no disgrace. To remain a criminal is the disgrace. I formerly was a criminal. I formerly was in prison. I'm not ashamed of that.
All right, you guys, look, thank you for tuning in to another episode of I Used to Be a Criminal. Today I got a special guest. You guys gonna love him. This is my guy, Kevin Grant. What's up, man?
What's up? What's up? What's up, Marlo?
Good to go. Hey, look, y'all. Y'all gonna really like this guy. Just sit down, just hold on to your seatbelts. Hey, Kev. So look, on this show, what I like to do is I like to actually give people an opportunity to introduce themselves. Right? In the hood, growing up, a lot of times we don't know who we are. Right? We let other people dictate who the hell we are. So I want people when they come to my show to speak who they are themselves. Right? Not me. So hey, why don't you do me a favor? Let the audience know who you are and what you do for the community.
Okay. Thank you, Marlo. I'm Kevin Grant, loved ones out there. I'm blessed today. We'll go into a little history later, but today I'll answer the question of what I'm honored to do. So I have Kevin Grant Consulting. That's my own little business where I do trainings, groups for youth, contracts through probation, the feds, the state, the county, different things. But the main topic is reentry, helping the loved ones who have journeyed into those criminal justice basements. Help them come back and navigate their way back into mainstream society, wraparound. I also work for the City of Oakland as a violence prevention coordinator for the Department of Violence Prevention, also used to be known as Oakland Unite, Measure Y. And that entails that we respond to all the shootings and homicides that are network affiliated, youth on youth crime, typically in Oakland, which is, about 85% of the crime in Oakland is young black and brown men, and young black and brown men. So I'm blessed to be a part of that with the City of Oakland. And so today, that's who I am. Yeah, I used to be a criminal.
But let's start the peacemakers. Kev, as you know, I grew up in the West Oakland. I grew up in the Lower Bottom, right? I had an upbringing that was questionable, right? When it comes to being conducive to somebody being successful, right? For a kid. My mom was on drugs, daddy abusive, alcoholic. I'm seeing people get shot up, the shit we see out in the town, right? And so I want to ask you if you can talk about your upbringing, like where you grew up at, and how was your household?
Okay, that's interesting because mine was just a 180-degree polar opposite. I had two blessed parents that, and there were 6 kids and my parents. My parents were together until both of them passed on to, the journey in life took them, through the complete turns. My parents, what I remember, because I was born in a little city called Ogden, Utah. My dad had a hunting accident out there, and we were doing a little work or something out there. My mother was pregnant. All my other older brothers and sisters were born in Chicago. I was born in Utah. From that point, we came to Oakland. We lived on Pippin Street. I don't remember none of that, some apartments. Then we moved to Serenity Park. Then we stayed in Serenity Park. That's when my recollection starts, So, I think I don't think I was an infant when we moved to Oakland. I grew up in Serenity until we moved to 64th above, right by MacArthur Boulevard. Went to Serenity Park, elementary, Burbank, then Frick. Okay. And then from that point on, it was all trouble. I don't know what it was, Marlo, but for whatever reason, I was attracted to all of the wrong things. I just, and like I said, my family, every family has dysfunction. People think, dysfunction. No, every family has its own set of dysfunction. My family, my parents became Jehovah's Witnesses when we moved from Serenity Park. Okay. And then it was cool to journey there. And then for whatever reason, I took off way on the other side of the game. Right. You know what I'm saying? And spent a lot of time doing things that were totally against the family norms and society norms.
That's true you say that, because one of my questions I was going to ask you is, a lot of times in life, people can't remember, right? Think back on the things that they went through in life, and they can kind of pinpoint at what point in their life they decided to go towards the negative things. Can you pinpoint a point in your life what made you attracted to or started to chase after these antisocial pursuits?
Well, what it was is from the time I can remember. Even my mother would tell stories of things that I didn't remember.
Okay.
She would always be the one, and I always tell parents you have to be careful of what you tell your kids they are, unless they prove you right.
Yes.
But my mother used to, some gifts parents give ain't great. My mother used to be like, here come my little nasty bad one. Here come the little nasty.
Yes.
And so,
yes.
and then they have stories from my errant behavior from the time I can't even remember.
Okay.
That I was always that one that would push the edge and try to edge, and then when it came, when you break the nest and start associating with peers you choose in school, then I was the one who was off the hook.
Right. Wow. That's deep. Well, let me ask you this. Let me say, put it this way. I remember one day being in the shootout, right? Mm-hmm. On some foul, some weird shit, right? We out here and getting this shootout, and we had some whack ass aim. Nobody got hit, thank God. Buildings and all kind of foolish shit got hit, but nobody actually got hit. And I remember thinking back when I finally made it to safety. I'm like, man, Marlo, you gotta change up your lifestyle, man. What's wrong with you, right? At that point, I now, kid, don't get me wrong, I didn't switch the game, right? But at that point, I knew that it was time for me to switch up. Can you recall a time in your life when you decided to, or you came to the realization that it was time for you to switch up and be the person who you had on the inside of you the whole time anyway?
Yeah, every time I went to jail.
Every time.
Every time I got shot as a kid.
Okay.
So at that point, when I went to juvenile hall,
okay.
When I went to juvenile hall,
okay.
When I went back to juvenile hall, then when I went to youth authority, then when I went to the feds gave me 17 with 10 joints suspended for a total of 27 years, then I really, yeah, so I made up my mind to change. Every 3 months, I just never put the work in.
Right. So,
but I had many journeys to many off-ramps on my journey internally.
Okay.
And then, like I say this, internally, inside of me was always a no, even as a kid, Marlo, when the kids were like, let's go break in the house. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that, no. But yes. But the yes would come out because I had no strength of my own under the powers of peer pressure.
Right. That's deep. You know, Kevin, you say that right now. Some youngsters don't watch this, right? And they probably face that same situation where, you know, they feel like they have to say yes when they under that pressure. Is there another way out? Like in my book, I talk about, you know, lying on. I know this shit might sound crazy, but you know, you put on the spot sometimes. You got to lie on some shit, right? Lie on your mama, lie on somebody else. What advice would you get at young?
Same thing. I tell them the probation department. I'm like, how many times have we lied to our parents to go get in trouble? Now lie on your parents or lie on the probation. If folks is at my house, I tell my youngsters, we there hanging out and they want to do something, my heart beating. I know what the journey is. I know I'm nervous. I'm feeling this anxiety because I'm about to push the button to go react to this. So I tell them, guess what? If you tell the crew, man, my PO gonna be here in 30 minutes. Oh, they out. Your PO could be on vacation, but sometimes you gotta lie to get to second base. You gotta steal the base. You know, we lie, like you said, to get out of trouble. I mean, to get into trouble. Mama, I'm going to Marlo house to spend the night. You ain't going to see Marlo this weekend. But you use that same skill set to get out of trouble. If you don't have the strength, if you got the strength, stand on your legs. I didn't have that strength, but no, gangsters couldn't talk to kids back in the day. Wasn't no lived experience, share work type atmosphere where we merged. So yeah, I recommend the same thing.
That's good stuff. Listen up, y'all. Look, kid, we got a couple more. I know you're a busy dude, and I think if you can stop and take the time out, man.
No problem.
And for y'all motherfuckers out there making jokes, we are not twinsies and shit.
That's right.
It wasn't a plan, right? Just you know,
how we do.
Fly people get down like that, all right? All right, so look, kid, a couple more for you. I was a short timer, right? In terms of, I brought back about a total of maybe like just over 3.5 years, spending time incarcerated from Quentin to Hot Desert and shit like that, right? Yourself, though, I think your story is totally different than my shit, man. And I call it a short timer. That shit was long for me. The 3.5 years set me back.
Yeah.
How much time did you donate to this fucking system?
To a total of 20 in from counting all the time. But now here's what I say. I don't, like when we say, oh, I just did 6, I just did a year. No, because we've been conditioned to respond to think. But like me and you talk offline, I don't just do a year. So do my son.
Yes.
So do my parents. So do this. I remember talking with my mother. My mother shared something with me. And then when the feds gave me all that time, she told the feds when they dropped off my property box, the fed told me, "We're going to like praise Jehovah." So I called home. What? She said, "I get to sleep."
Yeah,
she said, "When you out here doing what you do, I don't sleep. I don't rest. Every ambulance jars me awake. Every gunshot makes me afraid." Now, let's put that on hold and then think about it. My mother she said she was crying. "I'm home now." I said, "Mom, don't, because I'm a crybaby too."
Right.
And she said, I'm so glad those nightmares." I said, "What nightmares?" So I finally let my mother talk. And you know a dog kennel where the people put the dogs in the kennel when they take them on the truck, the back of the truck?
Yes.
My mother said, "I know, but watch this," that blew me away, Mama. My mother told me that she could not imagine. Every time she had a dream of me in prison, that all the prisoners were laying in the cells. And she knew that wasn't the case.
Wow.
But she said that was her dream.
Yes.
Now I'm grown up, mature, realize that, dang, even I'm like, "Mama," she said, "Dummy, I know that, but that's what my dream is taking.
Yes.
That my son is laying in a
Stressed out over you.
back." She said we had to crawl in and lay down, and the guards would go by and hit.
Wow. Yeah. Just imagine
For
what we do
years.
to people.
That's. Ask them. For the loved ones, if I could challenge you to do something, ask the people who love you. Not the ones who say they love you, but the ones who show they love you. Ask them what your journey has taken them.
In society, right, we tend to look bad upon people who previously been incarcerated, made some mistakes in their life, and sometimes don't even want to give people an individual a second chance, right? It's a stigma, and that's what this show is about. It's about breaking that stigma and letting people know that, hey, look, people make mistakes, but they can bounce back. Do you have any input for the people that's watching that maybe never been incarcerated before, that probably won't hire somebody, and that's the valid decision, should I hire this individual? What would you say to that person?
That's a good question, Marlo, because I started off when I came home, I was blessed. The feds who used to lock me up helped me get a job doing employment placement for parolees. I started that in '92. Now watch one thing. Transferable skills. Everybody out there know what that terminology means. Transferable skills. I look at my loved ones and say, you can look at an employer and say, I'm time management, I'm very focused, I can work alone or in a group, and I'm very time conscious and sensitive to my environment. Now what are the skill sets? Those are skill sets that any employer would want, Marlo, but I got those skills being a burglar.
Right.
They're transferred.
Absolutely. No doubt.
You understand what I'm saying? So all of our people have transferable skills, and given a chance. And then another dynamic is that we have, when I was doing employment, I would get guys who worked 15, 20 years in San Quentin's kitchen for 12 cents, $30 a month. And I used to empower them to go in the interview and say, I run a line. I cook for 4,000 people. And put my breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but the transferable skills. And then they would tell employers, I've done it for 12 cents. Oh, I work in institutions, but I can use that skill set to help your company.
Right.
So, but then we do need that secondary belief and support system of people, the employers and other people who are in those positions to have that trust factor, and give a brother a chance, give a sister a chance to use their skill set, that they have learned. Because nothing in life, I always say this, is free. In other words, you can't go through a journey in life without picking up some skills.
Most definitely. I agree with you. And that's funny you said that, because in my book, from the bottom to the top, I have a section where I talk about when I was in prison, how I picked up all these different skills. And so I'm talking about construction worker, welding, all these things. When I came home, I had a gap in my application, right? So in my application, I applied those skills. I said, I'm a carpenter. I went to school for carpentry. I went to school for welding. And I put down, I was in James said, like, the term was a little different. I was able to put down Sierra Conservation Center. One boss one day said, man, you learned all these skills at Sierra, I'm gonna have to send my son there. I'm thinking like, shit, you don't want to say there, right? But transferable, I have to transfer them over, right? It's okay. Look, talk to the people real quick about the things you do as far as the ceasefire.
Okay.
Like what y'all doing in Oakland and things like that.
So in ceasefire has a lot of controversy with it. What we do, we provide the service on the ceasefire. Got some young men that we have meet here where me and Marlo are right now at the park, and we just try to engage them from our point of view, from the lived experience, been there, done that, and then try to encourage them to be involved in something different, because different than when I was a young man, and probably Marlo was a young man, we weren't dying at the rate that these young men are now. So ceasefire's strategy is to bring a holistic approach, which is law enforcement, which is supposed to be hell-bent on stopping the incarceration and the death. Faith-based organizations, which are saying we're tired of doing funerals for you guys as mothers. And then community service, which is us. We're the service end of that, the same. And guess what? If you're ready to holler, we got some employment, we got life coaching, we got skill sets, we got embracement, we got some small stipends to monthly keep a little change in your pocket. So that's the role we play for ceasefire. We are the service delivery end of that package.
Good stuff. If you had a chance to speak to 14 or 15-year-old Kevin, what would you tell him?
That's interesting because I would definitely, here's the dilemma, the conundrum. People have asked me that, and one youngster asked me this, Marlo. He put it to me raw. Okay. He said, but Kev, sorry you guys, he said, but Kev, you helped me a lot. Watch this 15-year-old kid said, you helped me a lot. Because I was on one, emotional, letting him have it. 7 of my 10 kids have been shot, so I'm like, I'm going there. He said, but kid, with his heart, watch what he broke me down. He said, but if you didn't, because I'm like, if I could go back and do it all over again, I wouldn't do none of this shit. You know how we do it. Right. And then he said, but kid, if you go back and took that path, you help us a lot. And all other kids said, who would we have? Wow. And so it made me realize that even though my journey was fraught with pain and suffering, not just Kevin, because I survived. I'm silliest person on this planet. In the penitentiary, I'm the same person. Everybody loved me, that's it, that's all, right? And it ain't me that I'm special, it's the way I was raised. I'm honest, I try to be fair, I try to look. So I think when he said that, it made me rethink that process that I had. I wish I would. There's a lot of things I would erase, but I think where I'm at would not be as effective if I had not been where I was been. Most definitely. So I think I would tell my young self, don't turn left that day. But it's a hard one. It's a hard one, Marlo. But I know what the skill sets, looking at my brothers and sisters who didn't get involved, because I hurt a lot of people. So I think that's hard. It's hard to say. It's hard. Yes, I understand. Because being here is so rewarding. I got some young men out there I'm trying to encourage not to get involved in something that's life-threatening. One of my young men been shot just recently, twice, first time out from this shooting. Lost organs and everything. So one of the things that we have, that's a hard one for me to answer. Right. All right. Well, Kev, look, I gotta get you out of here. But look, if somebody wanted to reach you and reach out to you for your assistance and all the things you do, I mean, I know you speak at different places. And man, look, when I first met the guy, I got out of jail. I came prison actually. I came home. I had to go to what they call a PAC meeting. Kev came in there, fly as shit. He walked in the door. I'm looking at all these parole officers telling everybody what to do. They let him walk in. He just take over the whole show, right? He come in, and when he hit me, when I was playing it to another day, he hit me with he told the whole group, it was like about 80, I don't know, about 60, I don't know how many people in the room, right? He said, look, I used to be a child abuser, right? I'm looking like, damn, these are these kids? And then he changed the whole thing, like, man, the way I was going to prison, the way I was doing this, and the way I was, it fucked me up, y'all. And look, it helped me know some of the things that I want to do later on in life. That was Marlo the Motivator started to push up at. Like, I got to do what he doing to help people too. So, Kev, I know you do these type of things. So if somebody want to reach out and touch you and have you come do some kind of event for them or whatever, how would they reach you? Okay, I'm going to push that. And what Marlo was talking about, we always talk about transferable skills. Don't get it twisted. Yeah, I'm hard, I'm a gangster. No. CDC who take 55% of your mama's money. Let's take your hat off to them. They the gangsters. Let's realize who we are. Child abusers, welcome to the club. Because neglecting of your child is child abuse. Right? If you go in the penitentiary and hug somebody else's child and leave yours at home without a father, you're welcome to the child abuse club. Okay? So to reach out to me, Kevin, my number is 510-301-3589. I'll repeat it again. And always text. It's better. My phone's, it's anyway, so I ain't got to go there. 510-301-3589. Kevin Grant, 510-301-3589.
And listen, y'all, I'm gonna tag this over. I'm gonna put your number in.
Yeah, and then they could Google Kevin Grant Oval.
And your phone number, everything can be in the link.
Oh, please, without a doubt.
All right, no doubt. Hey, y'all, look, thank y'all for tuning in, man. We'll be back at y'all again next week. My man Kevin Grant, hey, look, don't take that for granted. My man is funny. He's the coolest shit, and he's really out in these streets, really helping our community. So I want to thank you, Kev, for your time, bro.
And if they want to come hang out here at the park and help us give away food, pick up food, put all that on. We on every Tuesday. We're on 9-8, right in the deep 96 in Bancroft at the Verdis Carter Park, which is from Bancroft to Sunnyside from 98 to 96. Every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock all the way up through December. End of December, we'll be giving out food, PPE, free vaccinations, gift cards, everything. So come through, holler, hit me if you need. And then go through Marlo, he know how to hit me.
And that's where we at right now, on 9 days right now, y'all. Good shit, Kev. Thank you for your time, bro.
Okay, appreciate it. Anytime.